I find that the jury is entitled to consider whether the apparent desperation of Mr. Murdaugh because of his dire financial situation, the threat of being exposed for committing the crimes which he was later charged with, resulted in the commission of the alleged crimes.
Judge Clifton Newman making the pivotal decision to allow evidence from Alec Murdaugh's alleged financial crimes. And for more on why he made that decision and what this means for the trial moving forward, we now want to bring in our trial analyst, Kim Varner, Grant Varner, defense attorneys here in Greenville. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Grant, you called it. You've been saying it for about a week that you believe the judge will allow this evidence to enter this murder trial. How does it change things?
Well, first and foremost, we're all going to need haircuts before this trial is over at this point. It's going to substantially increase the time. Oh, it's a little concerning that at lunch, one of the jurors said, you know, this case is obviously going to go over 3 weeks. I kind of want to be excused. I can't do it. That's an ominous warning that the jury is getting restless. And if one is restless, the odds are pretty stout some of those are restless. So at this point for the AG's office, it might be a case of be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. It's tough to say whether or not this financial evidence is going to be so compelling to be able to keep the jury interested in it for this length of time. It's also a stretch to say that anybody on that jury has not already heard about this. They're from Colleton County. This has been news in Colleton County for, 2 years now. It's going to have a different impact to hear the testimony live, particularly, the Satterfield son is going to be there. That's going to be crushing testimony. So I'm going to stay tuned to this. I want to see where it goes, but without any question, it's going to be a longer trial, and keeping the jury entertained is going to be difficult.
Kim, how would you go about that? Grant had said something compelling to keep the jury really engaged. Did you hear anything compelling of what we've heard so far just in front of the judge?
The one thing I heard in front of the judge was the maid's son testimony.
Okay.
I thought that was very moving. His mother died. He got nothing, and he was lied to, according to his testimony, and received nothing. He has a brother who I believe has special needs, and that's somebody in the community. It's not the same as taking money from a bank or in a business deal. You got the flat end of a business deal. The judge did do something, and what he said was, for the jury, you cannot consider this for character. You cannot consider it as something that would make him inclined to commit a crime. It's solely for the purpose of determining motive as put forth by the state. I don't see how a jury can separate that. That's going to be tough. And it also, there may be discussions in the jury room. They're giving us all this because they don't have enough evidence on the murder. And from the very beginning, we have said that the prosecution has to be focused.
Is it fair of the judge to ask that of the jury, to say you can't include this as a character witness? Is because, Grant, like you said, and Kim, you said the same thing in regards of seeing him up there, someone from the community talking about how this money was stolen from him. How can the jury separate that? And is it fair for the judge to ask that of the jury?
The judge has to tell them that because that is the law. The jury should apply it. But we're going back to something that's a recurring theme of the emotions versus the facts. And it's hard not to have feelings if you know someone stole from their neighbors, especially a special needs person or a young man who not nearly as advantaged as the Murdaugh family, but it's going to impact jurors, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's going to have an impact on their decision-making process.
And Grant, as a defense attorney, are you scrambling right now? Is because even the judge had said that this is allowed is because the defense brought up that questioning. So as a defense team, how are you strategizing now moving forward with this now entering into the trial?
If I were Jim Griffin and Dick Harpootlian, you're going to have to play it with each witness. As they get up and testify, you're going to have to sort of let it play and then come up with some way to not divert from it, because everyone in the room is aware of it. The jury is keenly aware of what's going on. But how do you downplay the emotional impact? And I'm going to tell you, that's not an answer you're going to come up with in one night. It's going to be devastating testimony. And if I were handling the case, I would probably wring it all out in my closing argument.
Okay. And Kim, something else that we heard today, we heard from the caretaker for Alec Murdaugh's mother. She had said that Alec stayed 20 minutes that night, and then she was later told by Alec, she testified, that she needs to say that he was there for 30 to 40 minutes. What was your biggest takeaway from her testimony?
Her testimony, I think, got diluted with the discussion of whether it was a tarp or a raincoat.
Right.
I was completely confused after that. And that's something the defense has got to come back. Maybe he was trying to correct her, to tell her he was there 35 or 40 minutes. She wasn't paying attention. Hard to say at this stage. But that lady came across as a very fair type of person. She didn't seem to be after Alec or anything. She came across as very straightforward. But she was also a little bit vague. So I think the defense has got to tiptoe around her just a little bit.
Okay.
But one of the things that all this financial stuff is going to open up is how other people may possibly be involved in this, which may get the jury wondering then, did Alec do this or did someone he really hurt do this?
Okay. All right, great. You're saying we could be here until mid-March. Wait and see. I'm sure you guys be with us the entire ride. So thanks so much for joining us. Tori, back to you.
Thank you, Matt.